Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice in all alignments. I am Lunar D8, and this is part 3 of the Chaos Demons, or Daemons, by for Demons, supplement book for Warhammer 40,000. On this chapter, we are talking about Tzeentch, the Changer of Ways. Tzeentch is also known as 100,000 titles across the galaxy. Amongst them, the Weaver of Destinies, the Great Conspirator, and the Architect of Fate. In his mind, he listens to the hopes of every sentient being from every planet in the universe. He watches over the plans of his playthings as they unfold into history, toying with fate and fortune for both his own entertainment and to further his unfathomable schemes. Tzeentch is the cosmic manipulator. He feeds upon the need and desire for change that is an essential part of all living things. Most mortals dream of prosperity, freedom, and a better tomorrow. These fantasies are not just reserved for the impoverished or the powerless. Even imperial planetary governors and battlefield admirals dream of further riches, or perhaps an end to their responsibilities. All these dreams create a powerful impetus for change, and the ambitions of nations create a force that can change history. Tzeentch is the embodiment of that force. Tzeentch is not content to merely observe the fulfillment or disappointment brought by the passage of time. He has his own plans, schemes that are so complex and closely woven that they touch the lives of everyone playing, whether they realize it or not. The Chaos God's masterly comprehension of time. History and intrigue allows his ploys to intertwine seamlessly, forming a web of causality that spans the stars. Tzeentch is aware of the visions of planets and mortals. He takes great delight in the plotting and politicking of others and favors the cunning over the strong. When the inner voice in a person's head speaks, when the desperate whisper their prayers in the night, it is the architect of fate that listens. He perceives every event and intention, and from this information his unfathomable mind can work out how each will influence the future. The intertwining latticework of probability, hope, and change is Tzeentch's meat and drink. Without it, he would eventually fade away. Perhaps the Great Conspirator has plans to overthrow the other Chaos powers, or to extend his dominion over all mortal domains. Perhaps not even Tzeentch himself can say for sure. Whatever his ultimate goal, he seeks to achieve it by manipulating the individual lives of mortals, both men and Xenos alike, by offering power and magic. He can recruit influential warlords and magi to his cause, affecting the lives of many more at a single stroke. However, few of Tzeentch's plots are simple. Some span across eons or aeons with their complexity. Whilst many may appear contradictory to others, or even against his own interests, only Tzeentch can see the threads of potential futures, weaving throughout time like tangled skeins of multicolored cords, which themselves are named decision, happenstance, and fluke. The Great Sorcerer. Tzeentch is the undisputed master of sorcery, the most potent of all agents of change. Those who use it are amongst the most ambitious and power-hungry beings in existence. The raw magical energy that empowers the psychers of the mortal realm is the actual fabric of the realm of chaos. The same substance that makes up the chaos powers, their demon servants, and their shadow selves of all mortals that flicker in the warp. The use of magic is held as the ultimate expression of faith among Tzeentch's followers, who have much to gain from his patronage, though it will like as not cost them their immortal souls. They will at least have boundless power to show for it. This is in stark contrast to the majority of psychers within the Imperium, who upon first discovery are corralled by the black ships and sacrificed to sustain the Emperor. Change incarnate. The skin of Tzeentch crawls with constantly changing faces, leering and mocking onlookers. As he speaks, these faces repeat his words, with subtle but important differences, or provide a commentary that throws doubt upon his words. These lesser faces appear and disappear quickly, but the puckered visage of Tzeentch himself remains low down in his chest, so that the head and body are one. From above Tzeentch's burning eyes are two sweeping horns, the spiraling extremities of which crackle with arcane fire. The firmament surrounding Tzeentch is heavy with magic. It weaves the liquid smoke about his head, forming subtle and interwoven patterns. Forms of places and people appear in the mist as Tzeentch contemplates their fate. Those who feature there will inevitably find their minds, bodies, or destiny mutating into strange new forms, where none can come to Tzeentch's attention and remain untouched. The Crystal Labyrinth. Of all the outlandish landscapes of the war, Tzeentch's domain is the most bizarre and incomprehensible. His realm is woven from the raw fabric of magic. The Crystal Labyrinth, as it is known, sits upon an immense iridescent plateau. Its presence across all the demonic realms. Shifting avenues made from the crystals of every color crisscross Tzeentch's realm as it contorts through the 9 dimensions at once. Hidden pathways built from lies and schemes infiltrate the dominions of the other gods, binding together the fractious realms of chaos, better to direct them to Tzeentch's will. No garrison of warriors defends the labyrinth infinite reaches, for the battles fought there are of the mind. Its glittering corridors reflect not only light, but also hope, misery, dreams, and nightmares. Its own interchanging causeways and passages are enough of a barrier to confound any intruder not blessed by Tzeentch's touch, mortal or not. Woe betide the rival demon who strays into its reaches, for they never last for long, their energies drained to become just another node of crystal within the labyrinth. The Crystal Labyrinth does not merely reflect, but also distorts, pulling apart aspiration and purpose, turning it to insanity and despair. In its attempts to mirror Tzeentch's convoluted scheming, the labyrinth constantly moves and rearranges. Those pitiable souls, lost within the maze reaches, will wander for eternity, their minds shattered and their dreams broken upon the wheel of their own veiled ambition. The faces that are reflected from crystalline walls as such intruders are rarely their own. Everywhere, doppelgangers of those caught in the thrall of Tzeentch's flicker and spark across the prismatic walls. In the inner reaches of the maze, the web of crystal corridors bursts into jagged shards as Ahriman, the great chaos space marine sorcerer of the Thousand Suns, leads the warriors of his legion to war, only to be trapped once more by their own reflections. A plainer sheen buckles under the gauge of the Eldari Farseers, with Uthwai before throwing back the image of a burning craft world. A radical sect of Inquisition binds a mere demon to their will, with a forbidden version of the Emperor's Terror, little knowing that in so doing, they have bound their souls to its counterpart. These and a million other glimpses of reality flicker like flames in the wind, their energy making the labyrinth glow with possibility. At the center of the maze, hidden from those without the lunatic insight to find it, stands the impossible fortress. Twisted crystal spires and towers of blue and pink flame writhe and burst from the majestic fortress core. These exist for only a heartbeat before they shimmer and disappear, only to be replaced by new and ever more maddening architecture. Gates, windows, and beckoning doorways yawn like hungry mouths in a tornado of dislocated angles. Before shutting moments later, the nature of the warp is encapsulated within the impossible fortress, for physical space and time are useless concepts here. One might wander for weeks inside a chamber, no longer in a thimble, or traverse leagues within a single hesitant step. Gravity shifts and changes, or disappears altogether. Light of every color and of shades unknown in the real universe springs forth from the shifting walls to blind, disorient, and enlighten. For mortals, the ever-mutating citadel is utterly impenetrable. So locked in their physical ways, men are swiftly driven insane, while their bodies implode or are pulled apart by Tzeentch's meandering thoughts. Even rival gods cannot easily endure the twisted horror of the impossible fortress. Only the lords of change, the greatest Tzeentch's demons, can think their way through the secret paths to the innermost sanctum. There can be found the hidden library, the largest repository of knowledge where the great conspirator concocts his eternal plots. The hidden library is infinite with dimension and constantly folds in upon itself under the weight of its own destiny. It contains every scrap of knowledge and every thought of every creature across all of space and time. The books, parchments, and scrolls that line its ever-folding walls are bound within chains of magical fire, row upon row, shelf upon shelf, stretching into the imponderable recesses of Tzeentch's lair. Countless pink horrors and blue horrors creep and crawl here, tending the vast collection of the hidden library. The grimoires chatter to their keepers, trapping the horrors in the webs of the deceit and scandal, so that the demons eventually fade into the substance of the predatory library itself. Conjurer of realities. In Tzeentch's eyes, mortal creatures are immeasurably steeped in ambiguity, yet they somehow wage their personal wars completely unaware of the countless contradictions in their souls. Possessed of a scholarly curiosity not shared by any of the other ruthless powers, Tzeentch cannot help but dabble in the mortal realm. Some, amongst the Inquisition, believe that the great conspirator is responsible for the exponential increase in psychic ability in the human race in recent millennia. His talent for duplicity, foresight, and manipulation, along with the insatiable desire to increase his own power in the war, means that Tzeentch is one of the better players in the great game, waged with his brother gods. The architect of fate is not above sullying his hands with the bloody business of war, though he much prefers to win his battles through guile and sorcery than brute force. Consumed by his own ineffable thoughts, Tzeentch binds the galaxy in the weave of his complex schemes, just as a spider binds a fly. Though his schemes can take millennia to unfold, when they come to fruition, it is usually reality itself that pays the price. While one mortal lies to another, while envy and ambition survive, Tzeentch will work his magic as the puppet master of the universe, working towards the day when his final great work will be revealed. The Scintillating Legions. The air fills with kaleidoscopic bursts of magical energy as the convocations of the great conspirator materialize for battle. To mortal eyes, the different demon legions of Tzeentch are impossible to distinguish, each one as bizarre as the next. Yet there is a method within the madness, although none save the architect of fate himself can truly comprehend it. While Tzeentch prefers to further his own ends through sorcery or schemes, there will often be no better alternative than force to achieve his goals. Thus are Tzeentch's demon legions deployed, armies unlike anything seen in real space. These convocations go to war in capering, bounding, spell-wielding carnival of violence, obliterating foes with hellfire and change magics, unlike the militant cohorts of Khorne or the cyclical forces of Surnurgle. Tzeentch's legions are often in flux, shifting composition or altering tactics to better serve their master. Each Scintillating Legion is commanded by one of Tzeentch's greater demons, a Lord of Change, each utterly dedicated to his master's cause. The Lord of Change is granted great independence to operate, and with the help of their advisors and champions, they will command a legion suited to their own proclivities. Those that love to bask in the glow of destruction might head a conflagration legion, a force centered around formations of flamers, capable of wielding the most powerful of war flames. Others favor the legions of Anarchus, which are far less predictable in composition and specialize in sudden and wholly unexpected incursions. Those greater demons who are masters of duplicity will lead one of the veiled legions, the most mysterious of Tzeentch's forces. These surface rarely and are almost never brought to battle, and slip off unseen after their plan's culmination. Each of Tzeentch's legions is divided into 9 hosts, and these are directed in battle by the demon princes and heralds, such as the Change Casters, the Flux Masters, and the Fate Schemers. The leaders of the host compete to attract more praise from the Lord of Change that commands them. And even between the legions there is no end to the machinations of them, as rival lords of change plot against one another and sabotage each other's plans. It is game within the great game, and one beloved most by the great schemer himself, who frequently weighs the tributes paid to him and proclaims his judgment. Thus do the sigils of each legion dance across the Pyramid of Yirch, deep in the Crystal Labyrinth, blazing into a new order of continents. It is a hierarchy that moves often, but the 9 most favored legions are each granted control of one of the fractal fortresses that tower over the Crystal Labyrinth, and honor all Tzeentch servants desire. The Pyroclastic Conclave. The Pyroclastic Conclave is a conflagration legion led by the exalted Lord of Change, I can't pronounce. The letters don't belong there. It was one of the many demon legions deployed to the Stygius sector in the aftermath of the Great Rift, played a critical role in the siege of Morian. As it entered the battle with the beleaguered imperial defenders of that world, it was composed of 9 different hosts, each described opposite. 9 is the number the most sacred in Changer ways. It is only upon tracing the 9th sigil the runes of Change scroll begin to glow, morphing into their true nature. There are 9 distinct rites an acolyte must master before he can unlock the secrets that will permit him to pierce the veil. A process that will allow a worthy aspirant to draw upon the boundless energies of the material. To remain unbroken, a summoning symbol must contain 9 sequential rings, each perfectly executed in 9-fold process. 9 are the chants of the Kyrian cultus, and for casting a covenant of 9 is by far the most powerful of movements. Yet it is not mortal rites alone that obey the great sorcerer's enigmatic rules. The number 9 can be found woven throughout the unfathomable and ever-changing structures of the architect of fate's own realm within the world. The Lords of Change, the greatest servants of Tzeentch, and the commanders of his congregations are ordered within 9 levels of trust. All seek their master's favor, and those in ascendancy rule the 9 fractal fortresses. Beneath each of these, the most exalted, are 999 legions, each divided into 9 hosts. It is said that when demons are slain, their immortal spirit appears within the impossible fortress, arriving before their maker from one of the ever-shifting 9 gates, there to either be reformed or reabsorbed by the will of Tzeentch. The Lords of Transcendence, led by Kal Chaka, the Iridescence Changecaster, host composed of 6 flamer packs and 3 exalted flames. When the revered Shemildrazar goes to war, he does so at the forefront of the Lords of Transcendence. It was that mutated the state of the Emperor, ascendant on the shrine of the world of Luminaria, into sentient molten metal. The burning host, Shartazawa, Bane of the Obfuscane, Fluxmaster, host composed of 9 flavor packs. Wreathed in changefire, it is Chartazawa host that achieved the utter destruction of the industrial world of Obfuscane. The fires released so much rad poisoning that nothing natural can survive upon the planet for more than a few seconds. The kaleidoscopic parade, or scopic, depending how you want to say it. I can't pronounce any of these names correctly. Tishfralar of the Burning Talon, Changecaster. Host composed of 6 flavor packs and 3 horde packs. One of the most favored, I'm just going to call him Cream Cheese Man, advisors. Because the name is like Shamil Derlak, but I keep seeing that commercial on YouTube. The Chamelier, the person who moves around with cream cheese on a bagel. This thing is literally spelled SHIM apostrophe DRE apostrophe LEX apostrophe KAZAR. And we have the Weird Flames of Zingtar. And the Crystalline Blaze, and the Cackle Flames, and the Bringers of Blackfire, and the Fire Shards of Pejala. You guys remember that song from Dragon Ball Z? The Followers of Amara Uchaba. Okay, so I can't pronounce any of that stuff. But it's host. It's it is rumored that Amar Shashra was a sorcerer of 1,000 sons of ascendancy of demonhood. Whether this is true or not, his position of 9th host considered fortuitous and envied by all those in the 3rd host. None burnt more foes in terrain than the hostess of fire shards of Chalala. Although the lowest rank in the legions hosts the stars ascendant, Chala's is spoken more than suspicious. Okay, next time we will talk about Nurgle. Hope everyone had a wonderful day. Bye.